Okay, so what did you do for a living? You had the store first.
Oh yeah, that was not a good job. um, because I didn't have any skill as a secretary or anything, so there was a little grocery store near us, which had mom and pop kind of store, and this is a dumb one on me. They showed us their book, it was Japanese home, and they didn't show us the almost like a Trump. They didn't show us the current one. They showed us how they're making money. And mom had a store always, so she said, yeah, and you could, you could be home, close to home, and you could always have food to eat. So I said, yeah, that's it. So mom actually said, yeah, it's not a bad idea. And because kids were already pretty big, so. Anyway, so we had a store, but of course, we barely made it. I don't think we made it. Good thing Ted was still working as a gardener. And so he was bringing enough money so we could survive. And we probably just barely made it at the store. So at least we ate good. Kids would come in and slice ham and whatever, make sandwich. And they were happy. I thought anyway. So while I'm there, there's a Mr. Kitagawa, who was old man. Probably he wasn't that old, but he looked old. Who used to be the owner's friend, ex-owner's friend. So he was going to start a little takeout place. So, and I used to make little food at this little fish store, and people would like my cooking. So some person would actually buy up the whole thing when I make something. She was, oh, can I have the whole thing? And just take, I forgot how much it would be, but she didn't care. She just bought it. So people started to say, I'm a very good cook. So Mr. Kitagawa said, I would like you to, because I said, we have to close up the store, it's just not doing good. And besides, the person who owned the little gift shop wanted that place real badly. So we just left it. And he just took over the lease. So I went to work for this guy, and it was a cute little place, and we did quite well. And I used to make stir-fry things or just anything, Chinese, Japanese. And we got quite a good reputation that people, said they have good food. And it's called Sotel Tempura House, because Mr. Kitagawa was a tempura cook. And so then we had another woman who come in and helped, and so anyway. So in the meantime, my husband's friend, he worked for this woman who worked at the UCLA, and she said, they're looking for Japanese. Mr. Fukawa was my kid's friend, his father. He was working for Walker Ford Company in Santa Monica, and he said there's Santa Monica Bank is looking for a teller who is a Japanese, Asian. So he said, would you want to apply for it? I said, I never worked at the regular job. All the time I've been doing is store and tempura house. He said, well, they start integrate, I guess. So I went to, it was in 60, probably early 60. Yeah, 1960, I went to work for Santa Monica Bank. And they were really nice, but we got held up 3 times. And the first time, I was away from the button. You had to press the button. So I told my co-worker, Jackie, I said, Jackie, push the button. The hold-up man came in kind of screaming. And we had a guard, Mr. White, they kicked him and just shoved him down. So that made me so angry that, I want to push the button to start the camera going. And Jackie won't do it. She's so scared. She was frozen. So I had to scoot over to the button to push the button, and the camera started to go. In those days, you had to push the button. It's not like a 24 hours, you know. So the camera started to go, so you could hear the hurling sound. And the one that held hold up, man, went and shot at the camera, but they got his full face. So eventually we caught the guy. So next hold up, guy came in, and I was away from my station. I went to the other side to check on the account, because in those days with a printout sheet, huge thing, we didn't have a computer with us. So I had to go there to check each customer's, you know, what kind of account he had. So I was away from my desk at this little thing, and the hold up man came in, and I go, oh, shoot, I'm not at the desk. So now I have, the guy's gonna say, where's your money? So I have no money. So I thought he's gonna get really angry. So I said, this is not my station. So guy said, he just went on. Then he put his gun right on a stool real close to me. And I'm telling you, I never used a gun in my life, but I was so tempted to pick up the gun. I think Ted his bravery kind of transferred to me at that time. And I was really, I thought, well, I want to have it. I really wanted to pick it up. And of course I didn't. And later back I said, don't ever do anything like that, because we treasure life more than anything, money. So if you did that, someone could have been killed. I said, yeah, because I don't know how to shoot the gun. So third time I wasn't there, but Ted said, that's it, you're quitting. So that's the time Ted found, and so that was 60. So 63, Kennedy was killed, and I was still working for the bank. Then after that we had one more hold up, and I wasn't there. So Ted said, that's it, you're quitting. So then he worked for this woman. She used to work at UCLA. She was working for UCLA, and she said, cashiers is looking for Japanese, or probably she's an Asian or whatever. So they said they'll like to, see if your wife would like that. So Ted said, yeah, because I don't want to work in a bank. She's too dangerous. She was going to shoot somebody. So I went to UCLA, because they don't have any Japanese working for UCLA. Now we're talking about 1965 or 66. There was no Japanese. And even the basketball team, they just started to have a black player around the time I started, I think. And of course, first Japanese, they were really happy to hire me. But I had the most racist people working there. We had one black girl, Juanita. She was really and San America Bank also had one black girl, Jackie. Then so I had worked with one black in both places. And of course now you see lots of black, lots of Asians. And so you can imagine people, Japanese now working for UCLA, because now all the key positions, lots of them are owned by Asians, and basketball team, blacks. So things have changed quite a bit. My boss would say, the black, you know why black have a big hip? And so Juanita didn't answer, and someone said, why? Because they had to carry water. We accept that kind of talk. It's a good thing she didn't say anything about Japanese, because I would have quit. And that year, Martin Luther King was killed, and my best friend was Howdy Girl, James, and I were the only one that wanted to go to memorial service, because UCLA had a big group that organized something. And my boss said, yeah, if you if you really want to. So Janie said, yes, we want to go. So just she and I went. Funny thing, Juanita didn't come with us. So we went to took off and met with a group of people to honor Martin Luther King. So that was, I don't even know the year, but I was just at the UCLA. It was, and but UCLA was really, really good to me too. And then I started to work for accounting because they wanted me to work. I don't know why, but another Japanese, I guess. So I started to work for, and of course my boss didn't want. Then I started to work for student loan. Excuse me, not accounting job, but in a student loan. So I helped a few Japanese kids, and way later, this man in Japan told Mrs. Kawada, she said, I was at the UCLA and this girl in the cashier really helped me. So I said, so Kawada-san said, there's some, because she knew I worked at UCLA, she said, there's a guy who has an antique shop in Aoyama, and he would like to meet you because, so I said, really? I don't remember, because, Japanese comes and I try to be extra nice to those guys, because their language. So sure enough, he said, oh, you really helped me. And another one was guy, Rick's brother, who was going to be a doctor. Student loan was another good place to be because I used to help. I was really a good helper, So people actually say, she's the one, you go to her. So I was a busy girl.
Talk about the Indian guy.
Yeah, that was very crying kind. I can't talk. It's in my blog, so. In the meantime, Janie started to work for Culture and Recreation Affairs, which was in a little tower up in Kirkhope Hall in UCLA. Janie said, oh, you gotta come here because it's only, just a really small group and it's not the hard work, you're gonna have lots of fun. So then I had to tell my boss and I said, they want me to work for Culture and Recreation Affairs. Of course, she said, no, you can't do that. So I left there and went to work for Culture and Recreation Affairs and stayed there till I retired in 1984, or 83, 84, kind of. But that was fun time, really fun time. I used to cook for them and we had so much fun. And so one time my boss, Pete Dallas, said, don't you want get a even better job? I said, no, I like it here. He said, don't you have any ambition to you wanna be in a higher position? I said, not me, Pete. I said, I like it here. Don't try to get rid of it. He said, no, I don't want to get rid of it, but you would be so, they would really love to have you, at the upper place. I said, no, not me. I said, I'm happy where I am. I'd like to be on the low end, which I wasn't, but I said that. So I never moved from there. That was my last job, which I loved. In fact, every morning when I get up in the morning, I'm so happy because I'm going to work. It didn't matter which one, tempura. So Tad used to say, how come you're already humming and singing? So I said, because I'm happy I'm going to work. He goes, God, I never heard anyone like that. But I was just happy. So except for the hold-up, Santa Monica was good. And I just met the girl that I work with in the 60s, late 50 and early 60, Betty Hoffman. She got in touch with me through Google or whatever, Facebook. And we met last year in Santa Monica. That was just fun.
If you could do anything now, what would you do and why?
I would have worked for airline if I were younger. So we could travel. But even now, I'd love to travel. And You know, this year I was in Japan, and when I was in Narita Airport, going home, I had a little trouble there, so I thought, what am I doing here? Yet, once I got through all that, I'm ready to go back. So, travel is my highlight right now. And the volunteer work, and meet people, that's really fun. So, I'm very satisfied. I wish Ted was here. Just think, he would have been 96. Gosh. He was the strongest man. But the cancer got him. I always think they lived in Imperial Valley, which all his family had cancer. So I have a feeling some kind of chemical caused it, not smoking, because Ted didn't smoke till he was 21. You know, they give you free cigarette and a K ration, so that's, I think, because his sisters died of it. One is still, two are living still, but they both had cancer, their father and mother. So it's really too bad, because he would have had a good time, especially in Hawaii. He would have loved it here. He would have had the whole garden spick and span already. Well, thank goodness, Greg alias Twalak is just like him, never still, always working. The only time Ted relaxed was when he's watching basketball, baseball, football on television. Other than that, he was always out in the yard. Weeding was his pastime. And I noticed I do the same thing. Right now I'm not that good at weeding, but we have very little weed down here, and even upper. One of our friend Ed came over one time and said, "Gosh, you have no weed around here in the garden, in your lawn," because I used to really go after it religiously. And so if I see weed, even someone else's weed, I used to bend over and pick it. So I used to feel bad that Ted's doing all the weeding, but at the end, when I started to do it myself, I said, weeding is actually fun. I don't mind it. So he must have enjoyed it too. Let's hope so. But yeah, he never complained that he had to work. That's one thing. He never minded. And he became the top dog in his department too, so he got his wish.
Why don't you talk a little bit about volunteering?
You know, I sometimes wonder why people don't volunteer, because volunteer is so not rewarding. I don't care about the reward part, but it's for yourself. It's so much fun. When I was in LA, I retired in 1984, like I said, and I started to look for a volunteer job. The church was the first thing, because Ted and I both volunteer at the church. Then the Japanese museum came up, so it's way downtown. We had to take freeway, and you know, it's a long way, but still was. That was we were actually charter member, because our friend who was a millionaire came and asked us if we would start. We would be one of our charter members. So I said we had no money, and he said it doesn't matter. Just you could pay, pledge. Let's just say $2,000. Just pay monthly so much, and you'll be helping our history. So we said okay. So we started to do that. Then we started help, and then I started help with the senior center in Culver City, which is fairly close. And I had a Tuesday was Japanese museum, Friday was church, Saturday, Getty Museum. One of the plush place to volunteer. If anyone want to volunteer, that's a place. although they have changed somewhat, they're not as generous as before. Things are getting tight all over. But they used to give us twice a year humongous dinner for us, volunteers. And to be a volunteer there in those days at the Getty Museum, they don't take anybody. We actually had a training period. Or actually they take you if you're pretty presentable or speak well, which I don't, but it's okay. And always dress with a blue jacket, navy blue jacket with a white silk shirt and beige pants. So that was our uniform. And the first probably like half year, we had a waiting list. People would be lined up all the way to the, oh gosh, I would say a couple of miles. You can almost see people at Getty Museum on Sepulveda. It was such a popular place, and they had really great staff and great volunteers because we had to be on our toes. So that was a fun volunteer. But every volunteer was fun. It's very rewarding. Culver City Senior Center was kind of eye-opener because I realized there's so many people who were alone and they have no one to change the light bulbs or, climb ladder or do things. And we offered those people of free help. Even for the bars, for the shower and the bathtub, they used to give them free. So we were able to help, not now, but as a whole, we used to help a lot of these people who were alone and, on a lower income. So our Culver City Senior Center was really busy and very good. And of course, church was fun because I get to see all my friends that come in, and we had a homeless ministry there, and first we were making McDonald's those $1 meal ticket, and they want a bus fare because they always say we're going to a veterans hospital which is fairly close to our church, so we had a token for them so that they cannot buy liquor because we have too many drunk veterans. So that was another very rewarding. You see people or some people just come just to talk to you. So that was fun. So every day I volunteered, and Ted volunteered a lot at the church. He used to clean church and, with no pay, but they didn't care. And of course, Japanese Museum, okay, let's go back to that. So when my friend asked us to be charter member, we had no money, and like I said, we pay monthly, I think, into fund. So, but they had the two buildings. One old one was Nishihon Ganji, some Buddhist temple, and they converted that into a museum for Japanese history. Evacuation included, and the new building is just very, very nice. It's so many $1 million, but we had lots of grants from the government. Really a kind of eye-opener because I didn't realize all these Japanese history, how much Issei people had struggled and and made life for themselves and for their children, although they were almost taken away during the war because they were put into camp, and lots of people lost everything. And so anyway, this Japanese museum would tell you the history of that. Or one time there was a letter to Miss, let's just say Baker. She was a teacher at one of the schools that had lots of Japanese children who were leaving to go into the camp. So she gave each one of them a postcard, I think. and put her address, and she said, I want you to write to me. So all the kids just start to write to her, not all the kids, but probably, and she in turn wrote back to them, and some of the kids kept her letters, and she kept some of the letters from the kids, and they had exhibit one day, and it's very touching because someone really cared. Community Chest and the Red Cross. Oh, that's before we got real serious. This is when I was still, you kids were still in school. North Terry. They asked people to go knock on the door to get donation for, in those days we didn't have a thing like nowadays. They mail you a whole bunch of letters to ask for money, but in those days, Community Chest, Red Cross, and I don't know what else. Community Chest was a really big thing. People always gave money, so we would knock on the door and get the money. And if we got $5, that was really a big donor. We go, oh, thank you, thank you. And we were never to go inside the house. And one day, Peggy Hawthorne, and I were together. She was PTA president, and she and I were a team, and we were knocking on the door. It's just all nighttime because people have to be home, so we would do it in the evening. And then we knocked on this door, and the guy opened the door, and he said, come in. And honest, he stuttered so much that Peggy and I kind of jumped in the house. We didn't want to suffer. Then he calmed down, and then we told him what we were here for, that we were collecting for either Red Cross or Community Chest. So he said, he's the one that gave us a big money, I think $5. But anyway, so we didn't want to talk anymore, so we just said, thank you, we got out of that. But we laughed afterward. We were never to go in the house, when you're collecting money in the evening time. And here we just jumped in. He said, come in. Yes. So that was a kind of fun thing. And we volunteered at the school, of course. All the school home mother. We, at some kind of special days, we will make cupcakes and take it to school and help the teacher. Well, we had a special class. I'm sure they were for the learn disability children. And nowadays, parents are willing to acknowledge that they have a child with autism or something. But when our kids were young, parents didn't participate at all. They just sent the kids to special class, and usually were taught by UCLA's student teacher and the regular teacher. And so no one would volunteer to make anything, so I used to volunteer for them and my kids. So we were busy people. But your children, it's fun. Once they're in high school, parents don't volunteer. Even in junior high, parents don't participate anymore. But in high school, I used to go to school often because my son, Greg, was very bad. He would cut school, and they'll call me, and I had to go there. And all the Japanese friends of mine who works in the office, by then, Uni High had lots of Japanese women working there. They'll pass by and say, "Hi, Mrs. Tokuda," or even a student would pass by and say, "Hi, Mrs. Tokuda," and I would try to hide, but I couldn't hide. It was a hard time. But he turned out all right, thank goodness. And our kids used to have so many friends. Ted was the almost like a scoutmaster. He would play basketball with the kids, and one of our friend Larry said, you know, he's the one, Ted's the one that taught him so many things in the sports wise, and Greg hated it. It's really funny. Your own children don't appreciate, you know, thing like that, but other kids, because their father, of course, never never played with them. There's a Ted. He was like a kid, one of the kids. He plays to win, so he'd be out there, you know, bouncing kids around and playing basketball and softball and probably football too. And they all come in dirty and fun. But yeah. So in fact, so many children, young people, remember Ted. And when I went to a reunion in West LA 2 years ago, one of the boys that's my either Terry or Greg's friend came up to me and said, "Hi, Mrs. Do you remember me?" And when he said the name, I remember the name. I said, "Oh yeah, very nice kid." And he said, "You cooked us tacos." I said, "I did?" He said, "Yeah, and your dad, your husband used to, you know, coach. I think it was a basketball." So, you know, they remembered us with a nice memory because we did spend lots of time, especially Ted. I think even for church league, we had the winning team volleyball. Oh my gosh, we had so many trophies. And funny thing, those trophies were like 2 feet tall, really nice one. Our name carved in, and no one wanted it. At the end, when I was closing down the house, I mean, because we sold the house, we went into the little house like I told you, and no one wanted it. I thought that was, but then Ted didn't want it either because it was extra luggage to carry into this tiny house. So I don't know what happened to them. I hope someone got it because it was quite showy.
You went to YouTube,
Yeah.
and so you fixed the car, and then what was the other thing? You did it
I
twice.
was doing a refrigerator and I
Okay,
knew
good.
the cause. They
So-
wouldn't listen to me.
So, I think you want to be in your after retirement or during retirement. You want to be a handyman. So you want to be a handyman. So you want to be a handyman. So explain how that came about.
Okay. Terry has done something on a YouTube. I'm gonna learn something from YouTube, like fixing my car keys. So one day, Talak said the window was only halfway down, and when he, you know, my car window, when on the driver's side, he pushed the button to go up. It goes up to a certain point, then go down again. Anyway, he was having trouble, so I went in the car, and sure enough, it just doesn't do the way it should be done. So I went in the house and got on the YouTube. That's in case anyone knows about the YouTube, they tell you how to fix the slow running toilet. They will tell you how to fix this and that. So I Googled about the car windows, and they tell you to push it up all the way and hold it for 3, 1, 2, 3. Then push it down again. Then this time count 1, 2, 3. Do it for either 2 or 3 times, and I did that, and it actually got fixed. So Talak is teasing me. He said, "You should become a handyman. Add in the paper."
And
So
the
then
fridge.
next time my refrigerator wasn't working on the refrigeration side. The freezer side was working fine, so nothing was rotten. But freezer side, the refrigerator side started to get warm. So we tried everything, but nothing was working. So I went to YouTube. They tell you exactly how to fix it. It's a little more complicated, but you have to take the back panel and defrost the ice that freezes the fan that should be going. But of course, I couldn't do all that job because it takes a lot of manpower. But Terry decided, oh, we might as well just get a new refrigerator because our warranty was out by 5 months. They time it so well. So they got me a new one, but they took the refrigerator out and let the defrost this fan part, and sure enough, it's working. Although I have a new one, and they sold it to somebody, and so YouTube is just amazing. And once my toilet was kind of stopped up, most embarrassing. So Talak tried to pump and all that, but it wasn't working. So I read in a YouTube that you could check the side of the, where the water comes down. Just sometimes it get plugged up. So I tried that. So it worked for a little while, but again, we had to use a pump to clean it. So here's the handyman.
YouTube is also very good for musicians learning how to play guitar.
That's right.
And things of this nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Mom's going to go back to taiko drumming.
No, not taiko, but I think I could pick up ukulele again. YouTube has so many amazing way to fix things for almost free. So I learned that. So anytime something goes wrong, I know where to go now. Of course, many times I don't have the tools or the power to do it, but it could be done. So in case anyone's interested in YouTube on your computer, you get to see lots of ways to fix things. And they show you how to do it in actual demonstration by either plumber, electrician, or refrigeration. So I think it will be good for all of us. And I'm learning at my age how to fix things. And I think that is so great.
Question is, how would I describe Lili to someone? Well, Lili is a small, delicate Japanese woman who I see every Thursday here at the Donkey Mill. Raised 2 beautiful sons, always has a smile on her face, always has something interesting to say, and she loves movies. She's always given me great recommendations. I would describe Lili's attributes, her best attributes. She's always smiling, always caring about other people, always giving freely of herself. She's just a delight to be around. Her generosity is, I think, her best quality. What she gives to the mill, the happiness she brings to everyone around her. And her 2 delightful sons, they're just remarkable people. She's done an amazing job.
I think I would describe Lili as who I want to be when I'm her age, or a goal for my life. She's so active, she's so engaged, she has hobbies and passions, and she's constantly giving back. She loves everyone around her. She's, I think, a really good life goal. I think she is spunky, fashionable, and a really fierce woman. She's passionate and very caring. But I am very inspired by her level of activity and just how engaged she is with her community, always reaching out, always supporting the people around her, and just always there for a laugh and a good story. And yeah, she's a wonderful presence. I would like to thank her for officially allowing me to be theoretically adopted into the family at Terry's urging. Yeah. Thanks, Lili. We love you.